Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. If you have not done so already, please consider subscribing, rating, reviewing, and sharing this with your family and friends. And also, if you'd like to be a sponsor on this here podcast, we've had a few inquiries of late, but if you'd like to have your product, your company, or something that you've invented or you own promoted to BYU fans literally worldwide, along the Wasatch Front nationwide, we can take care of you guys. Reach out to us. Locked on BYU at gmail.com. We'll get you in touch with our very good Locked On sales staff, get you on the path to Locked On podcast success, advertising success. That's what I should say. But as always, thank you for all the support, irregardless of if you are contributing in that way or you just click like, subscribe, rate, review, doing whatever you do. Any and all of it is appreciated. All right, let's talk BYU basketball. Now, the hype train, as I mentioned, for BYU basketball is just getting absolutely ridiculously long. We have seen so many national talking heads in the college hoop space that are crowing about BYU, and for good reason. Kevin Young worked wonders year one as BYU basketball head coach, a Sweet 16 run. They put together a really, really incredible final stanza of the Big 12 season that captured a lot of the hearts and minds out there. And the thing is, now that you have AJ Dybantsa in the fold, you bring in top-tier transfer portal talent to surround him with that. Richie Saunders is the most improved Big 12 player, a first-team all-conference player. Everything points to BYU being one of the truly elite teams this year in college basketball. Now, there's other elite teams out there, and your intra-conference rival, the other Cougars, Houston, is projected by many to maybe be the number one team once again going into the season. But the bigger point is we're seeing guys like Jon Rothstein calling this the most anticipated season. Oh, there goes my camera. In BYU basketball history. That was fun. I don't think I've ever done that in the history of this podcast, have my camera go crazy. But the bigger point is that you have a guy like Jon Rothstein saying this is the most anticipated season in BYU basketball history. Wow. That's a lot of praise. Then you have guys like a Dickie V. Dick Vitale obviously is a legend of the college media space, just college basketball in general. Well, he's calling BYU, he has him projected as the number 7 team in the country, and he says this, quote, BYU is a squad that's hotter than Provo in July, and it's pretty hot in Provo in July. We all know that. Richie Saunders returns alongside mega transfers Robert Wright III and 5-star AJ Dybantsa. Watch out, Cougar fans. This team's legit. They're a type of dandy, baby. Like that's the thing about this is we are seeing so much of the hype coming BYU's way. And the non-conference schedule they put together, they're going to open up against Villanova on opening night. We found out they're going to play Clemson on December 9th out there at Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world. It's going to be nationally televised in prime time on ESPN. Now it's 6:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Mountain. You don't get much more prime than what BYU is right now. Now, we're months away, or I think we're over like 150 days away from the start of the BYU basketball season. And it is incredible to continue to see these different stories and videos and podcasts and thoughts and projections come out about BYU basketball. And the question that kind of lingers in my mind, what does BYU have to do to live up to this hype? Final Four, which has never been done in program history, make a run to the national title game. Heck, do they need to win a national title to have the payoff, as it were, be what people expect it to be? I think that's a question and an answer in many respects that is obviously something that you have to internalize yourself and decide what you believe is the payoff in your mind. Is it BYU makes the first ever Final Four? Because I'm not going to lie, I have I've been on this planet for nearly 4 decades, and I call myself a BYU guy, and I've been a BYU guy that entire time. And the bigger point is, I have never seen BYU make a Final Four. Nobody who's alive have ever seen BYU make a Final Four, but I think my personal payoff is BYU playing on the final weekend of the college basketball season in early April. That may sound crazy to say, but think about it. BYU made the Sweet 16 this year, and they have put together an even better squad on paper than they had this past year. How can you not expect BYU to go deeper into this tournament? Now, it is March Madness, and crazy things happen. Epic upsets are just rife throughout the NCAA men's basketball tournament. But the bigger point is BYU has got to handle their business, and they've got a very, very stout non-conference slate. We know they're playing Clemson, as I mentioned. They've got UConn out there in Boston. They got an MTE event that's going to feature a number of high-level teams. I mentioned Villanova in the opener. Man, who else? Oh, yeah. Geez, I continue to think about what BYU is doing here and the way that they're building this out right now. And it's just Wisconsin. Excuse me, that's the team I was thinking of. Wisconsin coming to the Delta Center. And the thing is, this BYU basketball team has got so much talent. And you can see it. They're putting out these hype videos from practice. We're seeing pictures and still frames of guys like AJ Dybantsa posterizing dudes, Keba Keita, Richie Saunders, Sans headband, by the way, in practice, doing his thing. It's going to be a really, really crazy season, but at the same time, highly, highly exciting to watch this team really morph into ultimately what it's going to become. I know that Kevin Young has been a guy who is pretty circumspect about kind of putting what I would say is, I guess, expectations on his squad, but you can tell deep down he wants nothing more than to win and win at a very, very high level. He's talked about wanting to make BYU an NBA factory. And yes, he's going to put Jaeger Demon in the lottery of this year's NBA draft. Next year, AJ Dybantsa, if he is outside the top 5 of the NBA draft, it's a massive, massive fall from grace. Richie Saunders could find himself drafted next year with another strong season this year. He's talked about wanting to make sure guys have opportunities to play at the professional level, but he's also not losing sight of the fact that while you develop guys to go and play professionally, you need to win along the way. And he's got a lot of good talent around these guys. Robert Wright III, I think, is the really key cog in all of this. If he can really be that point guard that really tees guys up and really keeps BYU playing steady, that's going to be awesome. And the other thing about it is BYU has to play defense. Kennard Davis Jr. is considered to be, I think, the 3-and-D guy for this BYU lineup. But they need 3 or 4 of those guys to emerge. Is Tyler Meares capable of doing that? We'll see. There are going to be a ton of options out there on the roster for BYU. And we talked yesterday how BYU, maybe it wasn't yesterday, it was earlier this week, that BYU's spanning the globe looking to sign that final roster slot. The House settlement will obviously have just the 15 slots. There are 14 guys right now. They have got a ton of optionality out there. And the good news is the hype, it doesn't stop. But I think this BYU team, they're built to embrace all of it. And they have to be. That's a simple fact of life, is they have to be built for it. Because if they're not, guess what? You're going to have a whole lot of haters and a whole lot of naysayers who are going to, as I like to say, hate watch BYU this year, hoping that BYU falls flat on their face. And will they fall on their face at times? Absolutely. Just with the way that BYU has scheduled things and just the bear trap that the Big 12 conference is in men's basketball, yeah, there's going to be losses on that schedule. If they don't lose, okay, yeah, the Final Four may be me misstating where my expectation level is. But the bigger point is, this is a really, really good team on paper. Now they're going to have to square up and match it with their play on the court. And it's crazy to think that it's that far off, but it feels like tomorrow it's going to be here. And we'll be watching them taking on Villanova in Las Vegas. All right, coming up next, we're going to finish up today's show with a certified freak. And I mean that in the kindest way possible. McKay Madsen. How much more can this dude prove to be in terms of just being a sheer athlete of the highest order? Well, he made history, 100-year plus history in California prep history, and we'll explain what he did next right here on Locked On Cougars.